What's this then? Mordor? You're here to learn about the Black Land? Well, I'll tell you all about Mordor. Everything you need to know.
Whoa, sorry about that. It happens sometimes. What's up, everybody? My name is Jordan, also known as J-Monster, and today we're going to be doing a Rise of Mordor official overview for the Mordor faction, of course. We're going to be looking at their starting position, general gameplay aspects and themes, script ideas, faction/racial bonuses, building chains, tech trees, unit rosters, and all of the good stuff, which will hopefully answer many of the questions that you guys may have burning a hole in your minds about the Mordor faction and their campaign. At the moment, Mordor is the best developed evil faction, to contrast with the Gondorians, in terms of their campaign gameplay development, and as usual, everything that you see before you is official Rise of Mordor development material. However, things, of course, during the development process do remain subject to change. So, bearing that in mind, let's jump into the video. Mordor's starting territory is one of the larger ones in the game. Although not quite as big as Gondor's starting empire, Mordor's lands are exceptionally well protected by the mountain ranges upon its border. Also, its strongest settlements are placed strategically in its outer territories, and these will form the front line of Mordor's starting wars against Gondor. From the Black Gate to the north and the Mordor Vale to the west, it can release its war machine prepared safely behind the walls of Mordor, upon the rest of Middle-earth. In total, Mordor holds 10 starting regions, controlling 3 full provinces plus the Mordor Vale, ensuring a safe early game. To the south and east, Mordor's allies provide safety to the Dark Lord as the Southrons and Easterlings prepare for war alongside the Black Land. For as long as the player can keep these allies in check, Mordor can direct its entire military force west to immediately take on its toughest foe, Gondor. Mordor harbors some of the largest fortresses in Middle-earth. From places such as the Black Gate, Minas Morgul, Durthang, and of course, Barad-dûr, Sauron can develop his military facilities quickly and recruit rapidly behind the safety of the Shadow Mountains, and unleash his ultimate invasion at a time of his own choosing. As the east and south are in the safe hands of Mordor's allies, and the lands immediately to the north are mostly abandoned, Mordor's expansion will inevitably lead westward, where it will immediately face its greatest enemy in the form of Gondor. However, with many of its greatest settlements located to the northwest, and the rest of Mordor's lands in relative safety, sufficient resources to rapidly strike at Gondor should mean Gondor's defenses will face heavy fighting in the early game. Undoubtedly, this will cost Mordor many orc lives, but new forces are easily mustered. With careful planning and coordination with the Haradrim, Gondor's fall should be inevitable, and from there, the armies of Mordor can take the player anywhere he wants in pursuit of domination. Mordor's very secure lands will allow the player breathing room to initially develop the faction thoroughly before deciding to take the fight to the enemy. Orcs can be recruited quickly so that they can take some time to advance their infrastructure and secure prerequisite food supplies and resources. This will be necessary since with the relatively recent return of Sauron the Dark Lord, Mordor's lands need some time for development. The player is not without any pressure to move forward, however, as the risk and delay is such that Gondor will be allowed to progress towards their advanced military facilities, a strengthened economy, and a well-trained, large, and overall better quality military force. Timing will be essential. Strike too early, and the player's invasion will fail to overrun Gondor's defenses, leaving them with underdeveloped lands and a weakened military. Or worse, exposed to a Gondorian counteroffensive. Strike too late, however, and Gondor's might may have grown too powerful for the player to overcome in time for full conquest of Middle-earth. Overarching all of these considerations is the eternal search for the Dark Lord's ultimate weapon, the Ring of Power. The player will continuously have to search for the ring in order to ensure its timely return to the Dark Lord and fully seal the final doom of Middle-earth. However, dedicating efforts to such a quest will mean sending off abroad some of your most important resources, such as the Nazgul, the most trusted servants of Sauron, and these will deprive the player of badly needed early game resources and their strongest generals. Choices will have to be made between hunting for the ring and the player's military campaign, although it is worth noting the latter cannot succeed without the Ring of Power. And, although loyal for now, Mordor's mannish allies follow the Dark Lord out of fear and deference to his might. But should that might fail against the forces of the West, who knows where the true allegiance of the Southrons and Easterlings will lie. For their vile and warlike nature, Orcs enjoy several bonuses in combat. In particular, they get a morale bonus when attacking, and increased morale from numerical superiority. Also, the player is rewarded for sending out small raiding parties to steal food, which, as the lands of Mordor lack fertility, the Orcs will need to feed their armies. Additional income is also gained for sacking and looting settlements, and they have extra recruitment capacity available to draw from. A price is paid, however, when fighting in daylight and with army integrity, for, although violent, Orcs are also unruly. Naturally, Mordor as a faction enjoys huge bonuses to fully support total conquest. Considering how recruitment capacity will, in principle, only be available to players who have built the proper barracks buildings, unlike the Attila base game, which gives the player some recruitment capacity by default, the significance of 2 extra capacity should not be underestimated. Where a standard faction will, after having built a barracks building, have 1 capacity, Mordor will have 4. 1 from the barracks, 1 from the Orc racial trait, and 2 from the faction bonus. That is 4 times as much as your average faction. On top of that, recruitment costs are halved and upkeep costs cut by 25%. Mordor, however, does not have any economic bonuses, which is a real miss if we look at Mordor's building chains. Mordor's economic potential, however, is somewhat limited compared to that of other factions. The array of civic buildings is relatively confined, and the options for industrial development aren't all that fantastic either. Mordor's real struggle, however, will be food production. Mordor's lands lack fertility, and outside of some stolen food from raiding, it will have to rely exclusively on slaves, which require dedicated facilities, some basic meat supplies from the butchery chain, or potions in the draught maker chain. Maritime infrastructure is essentially absent altogether. However, their ability to bolster their military is essentially unparalleled. For instance, cities can construct a dedicated fighting pit building, which cuts recruitment costs even further. Furthermore, there is a dedicated building chain that maintains their militancy rate, which is a faction's willingness to continue to wage war. This chain also unlocks certain units, and the player also has access to a unique vassal gathering place, which will be present exclusively at the Black Gate. This will allow them some access to units from that of their allies. The most crucial building chain for Mordor is the industrial chain that expands Orc breeding facilities. These generate incredibly rapid growth and are a prerequisite for city expansion and Orc recruitment. However, Mordor's strongest choice lies in the development of evil sorcery. This building chain is not only equipped with the capacity to spread the influence of the power of shadow religion, but also enhances research, corrupting Black Lieutenant agents, and powerful Black Númenórean units. A special upgrade to this building is the Lair of the Nine, the home of the Nazgul in Minas Morgul, which allows the recruitment of crucial Dark Riders that the player can use to hunt for the Ring of Power and exert very strong corrupting influence upon the neighboring regions. Mordor's military tech tree offers them quick access to strong Orc units. The player may choose to rush for training facilities towards mass recruitment in order to unlock the 3rd barracks tier early on in their campaign. Alternatively, the player has the option to increase Mordor's influence upon the wider world by going down the spying creatures route through to raiding parties, which will unlock militancy buildings, raider units, and bonuses for armies along the way, as well as granting access to vassal recruitment, a crucial tech to rally Mordor's allies to its banner. A third option is to pursue the recruitment of beasts such as wargs and trolls, along the line of researching horde alignment, all the way towards beast training or even Olokai breeding. This route is long, however, but will prove a necessary path to take in order to crack some of Mordor's toughest enemies. Finally, the player should not lose track of some key technologies through the center and bottom of the tech tree, such as mass war production, fury containment, and mobile field supplies in order to make sure his armies maintain a sufficient amount of efficiency. The Civic tech tree pivots around the expansion and management of large orc colonies. The unlocking of the Orc Society's tech requires a lot of preparation, but is an essential step to expand orc settlements on Mordor's territory and a milestone in Mordor's development. Various useful things can be unlocked along the way, such as the Chieftain's Cabin and second-level settlements at Governing Hierarchy, and food buildings like working fields and labor camps at slave facilities. Once Orc Societies has been researched, Mordor's civic development becomes more flexible, and the player may opt to pursue in several different directions, such as industrialization towards mass production, or better food supplies towards oppressed workforce. The heart of Mordor's civic development, however, is at the top of their tech tree. Here the player reinforces his abilities to rely on the power of the One Ring to bend the forces of nature to their will, to breed more orcs, and develop the powers of dark sorcery. Each time the power of the One Ring grows stronger, the player is able to utilize this power by researching further techs that are based upon the power of the One Ring, such as Manifestation of Shadow and Revelation of the One Ring. With access to such powers, Mordor's corruptive influence grows stronger, meaning it can expand further towards unmatched superiority. Thus, the One Ring truly feeds Mordor's development, and without it, Mordor's abilities remain constrained. Ultimately, the power of the ring may become so great that the Dark Lord himself may take physical form again. Given all of this, the need for the possession of the One Ring of Power becomes greater with each passing turn. Mordor has without a doubt the strength to conquer all the world that would stand in defiance to the dominion of Sauron. However, this is not so right from the get-go. Careful planning is needed to make ready the necessary facilities inside Mordor, and even more careful timing is required to successfully launch an invasion against Mordor's strongest foe, Gondor. Should Gondor be overrun, the path to the ultimate victory of the Shadow is unquestionable. However, Mordor must remain vigilant for the internal stability of its domains and keep a close eye on the loyalty of the nations that fight beneath its banner. And of course, the Ring of Power remains lost, for now.